gentlemen, welcome to this meeting of Shepreth Parish Council. Straight on with it, item 370 to receive apologies. We've received apologies from Ollie tonight. 731 to receive declarations of interest on matters on the agenda this evening. I will declare an interest in the second planning item on the agenda. Has anybody else got any declarations of interest in that?
No.
As we have no vice chairman and the meeting has got to be chaired, Ruth has said that she would be prepared to chair the meeting, or that part of the meeting. So I need a proposer for Ruth to chair that meeting, which I'll do. And a seconder?
Yeah.
And those in favour of Ruth doing that? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, 732, public participation. I think what we'll do here is we'll split this into two, because I would imagine that most of you are here to talk about the second item on the agenda. So at the moment we'll do public participation, but if you want to say something on item 2 on the agenda, I think Ruth will open that back up to the public at that point, correct? So anybody's got anything to say out there? Nope. Okay, fine, so straight on with it. 733, planning application. This is the planning application for 23 Blenheim Close, single-storey style extension to the bungalow. You've all seen the plans?
Yeah.
You've all looked at them?
Yes.
Have we had any objections?
No, we've received.
We've received no objections at all. Anybody got any comments on the plans?
I'm happy. Not either.
It's all very straightforward?
Yeah, good luck.
Are you happy to go straight to a vote on this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right, so those in favour? Those against?
So that's 4 in favour.
Okay, fine.
Could you sign
I will sign form.
Thank you. Sign it there.
There we go.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point I will leave the table and go and sit over in the corner somewhere, and I'll leave you to it.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the second part of this meeting is solely to receive comments from the public and the councillors regarding the discharge of condition 17 of Nether's planning approval and associated development on the glasshouse, biomass boiler, anaerobic digestion plant and associated development on Filcup Field. Condition 17 refers to the loading, unloading and storage of the open-air fill material and digestate and the means of enclosure for the loading, unloading and storage of these materials. Reason: to protect unnecessary odour release into the environment. I must emphasise that, contrary to what is stated on the notice posted on the Village Hall notice board headed Residents Speak Out for Shepreth, this is not a new planning application and there will not be a vote from the councillors. South Cambridgeshire District Council does not normally consult parishes on the discharge of conditions. However, they and we are aware that Shepreth and Meldreth residents have voiced, among other things, their concern regarding odour from the on-site storage of waste for the anaerobic digestion plant at the Filcup Field site. South Cams have therefore given us all the chance to comment on these proposals to deal with this issue. Your and our comments will be noted and forwarded to South Cambs District Council. Please note we will not be discussing any other matters relating to this approved development. If you have comments to make on other aspects of this development, please contact John Koch at South Cambs District Council. Before we hear comments from the floor, I would like to read out a summary of an email sent to the parish clerks of Shepreth and Meldreth from John. In order to discharge condition 17, Nethy proposed to put a roof over the silage clamps and erect gale breaker screening. Roofing or waste storage, including green waste, helps reduce water contamination of the silage. and would almost certainly also reduce noise from general vehicle movements on site during loading and unloading operations, given that there will also be 3/4 height walls in addition to the roofs. The gale breaker screening is a positive addition that will no doubt help with odour reduction to some degree because it reduces wind speed over the stored material. The manure will be fresh and usually on site for no more than 24 hours and never for more than 48 hours. The applicants want the freshest manure they can get for energy extraction reasons. The roof over the silage clamps was proposed for removal due to concerns over its visual impact. This approach had some merit in helping reduce the overall bulk of the development. Nonetheless, there is also a clear benefit in retaining the roof, along with the provision of gale breaker screens for odour control. The height, materials and colour of the roof are subject to confirmation. If this operation is undertaken in such a way that there is no aerobic composting or anaerobic rotting down of materials on site, other than within the sealed anaerobic digester, there should be few problems with odour from this proposed site given the location. Shepreth Parish Council will be following regulations. Therefore, as stated in our standing orders, a person shall raise their hand when requesting to speak and stand when speaking, except when a person has a disability or is likely to suffer discomfort. Any person speaking shall address his comments to the chair. Only one person is permitted to speak at a time. If more than one person wishes to speak, the chairman shall direct the order of speaking. Each member of the public is entitled to speak once only in respect of business itemised on the agenda and shall not speak for more than 2 minutes. Please bear in mind what I said earlier. We will not be discussing any other matters relating to this approved development. So, comments on the floor, please.
Regarding the aerobic or anaerobic digestion you mentioned earlier, it's fecal matter, it's going to be digested and rotting away all the time. It will be producing gases, even if it's just sitting stationary. That is a concern of mine.
Okay, thank you.
It's not entirely clear from the letters we put in by Mr. Nathan as to what he's proposing here. Because if I understood it, the idea was that the Dutch barn should be fully enclosed, i.e. all the organic material should be within an enclosed space. It now looks like he's trying to get around that. And I would urge you to write a letter in the very strongest possible terms opposing that, which of course to some extent is what you should have done with the original application. Because if you as a parish council had been quite so pusillanimous in abstaining on this matter before, there's a very strong chance this application wouldn't have gone ahead. The original application wouldn't have gone ahead, because it's well known that planning committees at district level do pay attention when parish councils speak out strongly against particular projects. Now there is a very good reason why you should write a letter, and that is because there will be very significant odour problems arising from this plant. And there are two sources of that odour. The first is farmyard manure, and the second is digestate. The farmyard manure goes in at the start of the process, and digestate comes out at the end. As far as farmyard manure is concerned, you just told us, or via our cans, this could be stored for up to 48 hours on the site. If you look at the original proposal, the proposal is for 30 tonnes of farmyard manure to be delivered every week to be loaded into a digester. Now, we live in the country, we fully expect to have manure smells and so on and so forth, we've got a pig farm. But concentrating 30 tonnes of the stuff in one space over a 2-day period goes well beyond the bounds of what we should ordinarily expect or accept. With the digestate, it's even worse. We're told in the original planning application process it's going to have a very low odour. Right? Not even South Cambs seems to have brought that one, they're not brightest when it comes to these things. It's patently false. The European Biogas Agency, which is the regulatory body for this sort of thing, actually says, and I quote, the specific intense smell of digestate negatively influences the quality of life of neighbouring populations. Now, there are a very large number of cases as well in this country, Canada is a good example, where the Environment Agency and DEFRA have stopped digestate from being spread on fields because the smell is so offensive. Now what we're told is at the end of the process, once they put the manure in, they're going to take out the digestate, and that's going to sit in the Dutch barn for 48 hours to de-water. So you're going to have 150 tonnes a week, 150 tonnes a week of this very stinky stuff sitting in the Dutch barn. So, add them up for 96 hours a week, 4 out of 5 working days, you're going to have really strong anodous material sitting in this Dutch barn. That's why the condition was imposed, and that's why it should be maintained. And I would urge you very strongly not to make the mistake you did before, and to oppose this now to protect the interests of villagers. Because what the developer says is, I don't want to do this, it's going to cost me money. I'm going to have to look at explosion issues. Well, there should never be an explosion issue. Don't let him misguide you here. There's no explosion issue because nothing is being kept under pressure. There's no suggestion of digestate or the manure will be kept under pressure. He says, oh, well, I have to look into extractor fans and that sort of thing. Well, tough. You should have done that before. The point is, and again, the European Biogas Agency made very clear, the ventilation systems that are now in place are both cheap and effective. And he doesn't want to spend any money. I come back to that point, well, that doesn't allow people to write roughshod over the amenity of our village. It's got nothing to do with house prices, it's got nothing to do with rental incomes and all the rest of it. And whoever put that on the note outside, that was a mistake. That's not a relevant consideration. What is relevant is you're going to have 180 tonnes of stinky stuff sitting not a kilometre down the road with no means of enclosing it and stopping the smell from reaching us. That is unacceptable. You need to recognise that, and you need to tell South Cambs that is the case. So please write a letter in strongly worded terms to that effect.
Can I just ask a question? I don't know if everybody knows, but I'm the district councillor, but my understanding is that formerly, under the original permission, there was no roof, and now the proposal is that there will be a roof. Is that what you were saying? Is that your understanding as well? No. Well, no, I'm afraid that is.
My understanding is
the other way around.
to move from an enclosed space to a semi-open space. I may be wrong in that.
I think you are wrong. I think we've moved from no roof to a roof. That's the proposal. We're being asked to consider whether or not the only material consideration tonight is the addition of a roof.
But it's not going to
You've got the facts wrong. Have you been looking at the original application or
I haven't got the original application here, but this is the letter from John from South Cambs, and it says, my understanding from reviewing the file is that the roof over the silage clamps was proposed for removal. This seems to have been a result of concerns over the visual impact of the roof. So originally they were going to remove the roof because people were concerned about the height, the visual impact. They're now proposing to retain the roof along with the provision of gale breaker screens. I'm afraid I don't know what gale breaker screens are.
That's correct as well, yes. So formerly there was no roof and the silage clamps were open to the elements. Now the proposal that you are being asked to consider is
putting the roof back.
The roof is on now.
Yeah.
And that is the material change that has been referred back to Shepreth Parish Council.
Yes. Just for comment.
Yes, it is. So I'm trying to.
It's not a sealed roof.
It's a 3/4 height wall around the enclosure and a double apex roof. So if everybody wants to see, whereas before here, this was a low open enclosure. Now we've got this roof here. That's what we're being asked to consider. Now, if you're concerned about odours, I just asked you to think about whether or not you'd prefer to have a roof.
I have the roof.
Yeah, we want the roof.
Well, that's what they're doing.
That's what. Then you're all for this tonight.
The main thing is the smell. Can you keep the smell down?
We need it fully enclosed.
So can we just wait one at a time, please?
Planning condition 17, as imposed by Southampton Council, is for a fully enclosed barn. So the proposal to discharge that condition is for a partially enclosed barn. We're being asked to comment whether that is sufficient to close that condition down.
Okay, we'll note that.
I'm sorry, I did speak to the planning officer today and
So the lady at the back.
Hi, Christine Knight. I live literally on the doorstep of this development and I've been against it ever since it's been up for planning. And again, we're getting at cross purposes about what we're all talking about tonight. The reason I think that we are is because in the original letter that went out to two or three people, saying there is something in the planning that may affect you, referred to a condition 17 that was going to be discussed. And unfortunately, they put it under a different planning number. So the original letter that came out quoted the original planning documentation number that we all know about, Filcup Field. And it took me a hell of a job, and the person who received this letter, because I didn't receive it, to find out what was going on, what was being talked about. And in fact, the planning number that we should have all been looking at is S2954/15/PC, which I informed the Parish Council about, and you actually put it out, thank you very much, you changed all the notices. And in that planning number, it was, as we've just discussed, saying that the barn, Dutch barn, that was originally to be enclosed, completely enclosed in there, was being requested by Nethy to actually not enclose it, to have it just half closed. And this Dutch barn is the place you've been explaining very carefully, thank you, that it's going to be storing all this smelly stuff. And it's not acceptable to actually enclose it. In all the meetings that we had as residents, we had private meetings before we had the meetings here with Nethy, because we are the nearest houses to them. 5 of those houses and about another 5 or 6 people attended these meetings, and every single meeting we were assured that all these silage camps by Tom Naylor, we were assured that they were going to be enclosed and there would be no smell from these emanating from these at all. And this is what we were very, very concerned about, because as you said, the gentleman said before, this is very, very smelly stuff. And we've already know what the pig farm smells like. Imagine the tonnage that we're going to have on that site of farmyard manure. And Nethy have actually said in their reports that, this is acceptable for an agricultural area, for these type of smells. Well, I'm sorry, it's not an agricultural area. We're in Shepreth Parish in the middle of 2 villages, Meldra and Shepreth, and I'm within sort of 150 yards of this site, as it is about 5 others' houses as well, residential people. And I'm sorry, I do not want to sit in my garden and smell all these absolutely horrendous smells 24 hours a day, and especially during the summer, because let's face it, flies, smells, all this sort of thing, heightened in the summer. And that's when we use our gardens. And we have our gardens to sit out there and enjoy them. So do not the residents of this village count at all with what their lifestyle is going to be changed when this development happens. Also, I'd like to notify both the council and other residents of what's been happening in another area of this that should be brought to Nethy's attention, because over the last year there's a further problem with all the properties just to the Meldred side of this development, in the fact that the water levels in the area have risen alarmingly. I think quite a few villagers have noticed this over the last few years, and we believe it's because of the closure of the Barrington cement works. The
Can I just clarify that? I've been on a Cemex visit recently and they never did extract any water.
Well, whatever the
reason,
still come up
it's
very
come
high.
up anyway, for whatever. And the 5 houses on the Melbourne side.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we're here just to discuss.
I just want to say that the
this.
sewage and the smells, actually, because
I mean, if you want to ask us to, come to the next parish council meeting on Thursday,
But they should be aware that, as I said,
we have a 10-minute public participation slot, so you're welcome to mention it then.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. Sorry, Teresa?
Well, I actually just want to say, after attending the planning meeting at South Cans, the planning officers made it quite clear that they wanted Mr. Naylor to adhere to every single condition. And already we're having conditions changed.
Well,
Can I read something here? This is from Mr. Koch. My understanding from reviewing the file is that the roof over the silage clamp was proposed for removal in Tom Naylor's email of the 1st of April 2015. He's now being asked to put it back. So this is what we're discussing. The original application did not have a roof.
And now you're wrong. Well, you have the letter from Mr. Naylor to South Cans here, and it says at the end that he wants the removal of the condition such that the barn will be fully enclosed. That is what you're dealing with. You've just been told by this gentleman that he's checked it. You've just been told by someone else that checked it. I checked it today. That is what you're dealing with.
Okay. I mean, we're just
Can I
going
just
on the...
Sorry,
one at a time.
He's not objecting to the roof at all. It's the full enclosure or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Condition 17 is that there will be a fully enclosed barn. Mr. Naylor is trying to discharge that condition by a partially enclosed barn. The question is, should we, you as the parish council, approve the partially enclosed barn over the fully enclosed barn?
Yeah. That's so
Yes.
simple.
Clear.
Yeah, we know that.
As simple as.
Sorry, yeah, Teresa.
We need to bear in mind that all through this process, from the word go, we as residents have been misled in a number of ways, and Mr. Naylor is making a point of challenging this condition. But in one of the letters to Mr. Koch, he actually says that unless this condition is discharged, it won't make his anaerobic digester viable. Well, I'm afraid she thought about that. South Cans have imposed conditions for a good and valid reason. If you overturn this condition, he'll keep challenging the conditions one by one until he gets exactly what he wants, and it flies in the face of everything that South Cans planning did. And the only reason they passed this, not because villagers supported it, but because they couldn't have the risk of them rejecting the plans and having to have an appeal. They said it would cost public money. Now, there's a few of us in this room that have been accused of wasting public money because we've questioned things that you've done as a parish council. I'm going to say this now. Mr. Nethy is now costing public money by challenging this condition. And if you go ahead and you let this condition let it go through and you let him have what he wants, are you going to just lay down and let him challenge every single condition that he wants changed? He still hasn't done the nature survey, he still hasn't done the archaeological survey, and he wants to get this bill before the subsidiaries that the government give run out, and they are due to run out this year, I understand. You've got all these people in the room. Okay, there might just be a small number here, but not everybody can get to a meeting in the evening because people have work commitments and childcare commitments. But we are here saying that we do not agree with any of these conditions being dropped. The condition 17, as the gentleman's pointed out here and in the corner, he wants to change it so that we are put at risk of smells and nuisance and flies and maggots and goodness knows what anything else. Okay. You're supposed to represent us. Please do the decent thing and represent us.
We'll forward all these comments to South Cans, but we've not been asked, we've just been asked to pass comments.
You can
In the words of
resolve to oppose it. Yeah. You can pass a motion yourselves to say we don't agree and write to South Cans telling them that. There's nothing to stop you doing that. Please do that.
In the words of Eleanor Roosevelt, great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people.
Well, that sounds about right.
You need not be constrained by what you see as the function of this meeting and what you've been asked to consider. You have a right as an elected parish council to reflect the views of the gentleman at the end of this row, and to set out and filter.
I have the right to give my opinion. I don't have to.
But unfortunately, you voted for it.
I did, and it's called my opinion. If you want to be a councillor,
Could we let the gentleman finish, please?
You have a right to prepare a statement of the position which you find at a public meeting and draw that to the attention of the developer and his proposals. And it would be, in my view, a serious dereliction of duty if you fail to do that as a result of this meeting.
Okay. Sorry, did someone else want to say something? Mrs. Nichols, wanted to say something? No.
I would like to say something.
Okay.
I can give my opinion, and I am a councillor. I don't need to be told that.
Sorry, I couldn't hear.
Sorry?
I couldn't hear what you said.
I can give my opinion
Yes,
as a
of course.
councillor and an opinion and as an individual, and I don't need to be told that. I already know.
Sorry.
I don't need to be told. I can have my own opinion.
Well, obviously not.
Well, I've just been told that. I apologise. It's nothing, but not important.
May I just speak?
Sorry, yes.
I've been contacted by two residents, one who has independently corresponded with South Cambs and whose email as of today expressed satisfaction with the roof situation as it is. The other one on the other side of the development told me that they were entirely relaxed about it. So those properties are roughly equidistant on either side of the thing. Those are the only two residents who've approached me directly. I do, as I've often said about my job is not just to listen to people who turn up to meetings, it's to think about the people who haven't turned up because they don't feel strongly enough about it.
I mean,
There are a lot of those.
Sorry,
Yeah. I read again from Mr. Koch. I have to advise that the reinstatement of the roof would be a material change from an appearance point of view. That's all he's asking about. And he's saying, I don't think it's a big deal, changing the look of...
You are wrong.
Well, I'm only reading what he says. I have to advise that a reinstatement of the roof would be material given the change of the appearance of the development. This is not the same as saying it would be visually harmful. I believe there would be small visual harm. And whether the change is material differs from the approved scheme, he's saying it's not an issue. The sign is not an issue. The shape of the roof. But he's being careful and asking the two councils whether they have an opinion on it. Is that a fair assessment?
Absolutely right.
Sorry. Yeah.
Can I clarify, this meeting here is to discuss solely the roof, not the discharge of condition 17 as per the planning application?
I think that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
That's the way I've been advised.
As per Mr. Nevy's letter to the council.
Sorry, what?
As per Mr. Nevy's letter to the council.
Well, I haven't got that letter. I'm going by what the professional man at South Cambs. I mean, the proposal was passed broadly, and then they said we've got to comply with these conditions. Yeah, so it's gone through.
No, on condition. You weren't there, Douglas.
Sorry, it was passed with following conditions, with these conditions.
Can I just read what the letter from John Koch says? He says, we don't normally consult parishes on the discharge of conditions, but in this case I would be grateful to receive any comments your parish council may have. And he actually says within the next 14 days. That wasn't enough time for us to come to you to ask for your comments. So we've asked for an extension, which he has given us.
So what about the closed or semi-open barn?
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying, he actually states the discharge of conditions that he says we don't normally consult parishes on the discharge of conditions, but he's come to us to ask for our comments. We've now come to you
So we are still...
For your comments...
So we are also discussing semi-open or fully closed barn as well as the rest?
He's asking for comments on the discharge of conditions, in particular condition 17 of the Planning Commission.
Which is the semi-enclosed
Which is,
or fully
yeah.
enclosed?
It needs to be fully enclosed.
Does it?
Sorry, I think I find it difficult to imagine. Its description says, no, I've lost it there.
Well,
But it's
here.
open. But it's open.
This is the Planning Commission that the copy that I've got at any rate.
Can I just say something? I think it's totally confusing because they've actually sent out this letter to people in the village from South Cambs District Council, but without the relevant information about what it's about. We haven't seen the letters without having to go to this different site, seen the letters from Nethy to Mr. Cock or Mr. Cock's letters back to him.
Yeah.
And until we manage to find that on this site and know what it's all about, we're all going off on tangents all over the place and we're not actually talking about the same thing, because unless you've actually seen that condition and you've seen the letters that respond to it, and both ways, you don't know what he's actually been saying. And as we keep saying along the line, the fact is, Nethys want to leave the barn half open. And that is the whole thing that we don't want. We want it totally enclosed so that no smells can come. And I think that's the thing we should be discussing. Not whether it is a different one, and whether it's, it's not this, it's not that. This is the thing that...
So basically, the view of the majority of you is that we go to South Cambs and we say the comment from the people that came to the meeting was they do not want this partly enclosed building, they want it fully enclosed. So that's the main comment we send back to South Cambs. Plus the other comments. Okay. So does anyone else want to add anything?
Yeah, I must say I do have
Yes,
some
that's right,
sympathy
that's
with
fair.
Mrs. Knight, because it was very confusing.
Was it?
I was quite good at looking on the planning side, and I did find it took a while for me to work it out.
We're just going on the information we received. I received an email, and to be honest, I didn't have that new reference number until Miss Knight gave it to me. So what we're just going on, the parish council just going on the one email I received from John Kosh on the 19th of April, which was addressed to me and the parish clerk in Meldreth, and there were 3 attachments which are here. So we're just commenting on that. We weren't looking at anything else. As far as I'm aware, that's what we were supposed to do.
Well, when we say 3 attachments,
they're here.
the 3 attachments we received
on A4 like
were
that.
this. And this was what we had to look at to try and decide.
Yeah, originally.
My husband went to South Cambs
to get
today
these, yeah.
to pick up these full-scale plans that we could all have a look at.
Yeah,
I would invite you all though to look back at the original planning commission, because there was no roof there. There was no roof on the original planning.
I'll go to Teresa and
So
then...
this is being made a condition.
I looked at the new planning reference number and I looked through all the documents, including the letters that were written by Mr. Naylor to John Koch. And they were written last year. Last year. He wanted to challenge it even then. So the only thing we have to make our decision is to read through all those documents, and I read through every single one and I looked at all the plans. And I still personally believe, and everybody else is entitled to their opinion, that Dutch barn and the silage clamps, where that manure is going to be held, needs to be fully enclosed, not partially enclosed, fully enclosed. Full solid walls, door and a roof. And it needs to be fully enclosed to prevent any odours and maggots and flies and goodness knows what else is going to get in there.
And to your credit, Madam Vice Chairman, you have extracted a consensus view in favour of that, which was recorded a moment ago.
Thank you.
Any more comments?
I've got a comment.
Sorry.
Do you have the preambles to the project that he's put forward? The preambles to the conditions? The preambles.
The decision notice with all the conditions on.
No, above the conditions, a preamble.
Well, I've got the one done here, I'm not sure what you mean. I've got this.
You've got
This
this.
has been on their website, is this what you mean? I'm not sure. What do you think?
Didn't bring everything with
No,
us
we didn't bring
tonight.
everything, we're just talking about that one.
While you're looking at that.
No, I'll continue. The preambles to this, that are not on that list, said that Mr. Naylor should maintain a regular and formal discussion and meeting with the Shepreth Parish Council. This was in August last year. I would ask you the question, how many regular and formal meetings has he carried out with the Parish Council?
None to my knowledge.
That's fine, I agree.
When was he supposed to do that? After the mission? When the plant was running or prior?
It's in the preambles just before the conditions.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
but
a
was
separate,
that...
that's a separate.
But once he built the thing, was he
No,
supposed to do
this was the
Right,
run-up.
So afterwards we don't have to have any relationship
No,
with
this
him
is
if
to
there's a
do-
rotten smell.
I don't know about that.
Ah, well I do.
No,
I
but
think that's quite
the environmental agency will look after that when
Will
that
they?
makes it smell.
And these
What
are
I'm
the
trying to
people
say
that
to you,
decided what happens here.
what I'm trying to say to you,
Mr.
he's
Fox
failed in one of his preamble
He's
conditions.
consulted with the Environment Agency,
Can we forward
the people that you
that?
say know what they're doing, and this is what they've suggested, as far as I can understand.
Thank you.
They've taken advice.
Okay, Douglas, any further
Any
comments?
additional comments?
Well, I must admit that I don't know what I'm voting on,
We're not
We're
voting
not
on anything.
or giving an opinion on.
We're
Um,
just passing comments on it.
The changes to the approved drawings therefore relate to the areas numbered 11 and 12 on drawings blah 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 and elevations etc. These show a roof over what was an approved open area. They're changing the roof,
Yeah.
and that's what we're discussing. They've accepted that's what's going to happen. He said, I'll put a roof on it, and they've said, normally we'd have to have a separate application for a change of appearance. We're a bit nervous, we're going to ask your opinion about the change of appearance. That's my understanding.
But
What-
the
do you have any
majority
Now,
are
if we're
not happy
voting on
with
something
that.
else,
No,
tell
the
me.
majority are not happy with that. They want a
They
roof
want-
over
Okay,
it.
Fully enclosed.
I'm quite happy to make those comments. Sorry?
Surely it's about odour that we need to be thinking about, not what it
Yeah,
looks
but
like.
that's, I think they think they've dealt with that.
But
I think they think
the
they've
method
dealt
of
with it.
containing the odour.
The method, yeah.
It will have walls, this building, won't it? 1.5 metres
Pardon?
high. The roof is no good on its own.
No, I suspect it'll be
It's
supported
supposed to
up
have
with fresh air.
what they call it, three-quarter height walls. Three-quarter height walls in addition to walls. So it'll just get over the top. And so any comments from
Sorry to
you?
bring this up, it's totally not something that you're discussing. What about safety? You know, it's a gap, if it's not sealed off, children or somebody.
No,
I think
it's
it's a
just
big
over
fence
control
around it anyway.
as we're discussing.
I mean, I was told when this application came out that it was a fairly small development and that the one towards Bulldog was an atrocious thing. And I must have driven there since then probably 100 times, and I've only whiffed it once.
You have clearly not read the letter in the Royston.
I've driven past, I go by my nose, it's not what else.
We've got nothing to do with Bulldog and
No, but we are talking.
So did you want to say something
Just to
else?
say, I'm delighted at the way you conducted the meeting and the outcome which you've recorded.
Very much.
Yes.
We will be when we see it.
Yeah, okay. No, nothing.
Nothing from Sarah, nothing additional.
The only thing I can say about this is, am I right in thinking that the walls are going to be 3/4 high?
This is what they've stated here.
Right, so if there's a gap above the wall, between the wall and the roof, well, the odour's going to come out there.
So we need
this is
fully
what
enclosed
everybody
buildings.
wants.
That's what we're saying, fully enclosed buildings.
Wanting full height walls.
That isn't what it says on here.
No,
It's-
no, that's what everybody wants though.
Yes, you want the whole thing, so don't be near the door when they open it. Don't smoke.
But I would also add,
Because you'll end up in bag.
If it's us, then you.
well, really, it's an open air Field,
What I mean is,
they're
if
supposed to
it's
be doing it in the open air.
sides and you put a roof on it, there's no difference.
No, because when the waste drain code, it will siphon on with fumes
That's why
straight
they
off
said
the
fully enclosed.
Fully
This condition requires details of how the open air fill material and digesters will be stored.
You fill up the sides and the roof.
Well, now you
the
enclose it.
majority would like, well, the majority of the people here anyway would like to see
I agree.
a fully
Closed
enclosed
in,
roof.
fully closed.
Full
Is
height,
that right?
full height walls. And
Well, that's
that's,
fairly simple.
and along with the
Too
comments
close
from,
What?
Too close up.
About odour as well.
okay, so along with the comments from you here, we will pass along the recommendation that we would like to see full height, not 3/4 height walls.
Do you have anything else?
No.
Okay.
There won't be many applications for work, that's for sure.
Sorry.
Just because I fully accept what Douglas has been saying about the information apart from the Cambridge Planning Authority, there may be the material change to the planning application, which is the roof. Should we have a consensus on what we think of the roof as well?
But you would like a
problem
fresh
with the roof?
application about the roof
No,
and anything else.
I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm saying that yes, there are material change that potentially in the original application there wasn't a roof. To meet this condition, they're having to put a roof on. Are we as residents concerned about the aesthetics of that roof?
No.
It's very shallow.
They want to paint it grey, actually. That's the colour.
Any other comments? Otherwise we'll close the meeting.
Next.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Very well. Very well done.